Hi, my name is Wynn Briscoe, and I am the Regional Director for the Small Business Development Center for the State of Maryland Southern Region. And today I have the pleasure of introducing and interviewing Mr. Hoyer. We're going to go through some questions and just speak freely. Let us know how you plan to respond when it comes to your current and your former history, as well as for the future for re-election.
Sure.
Okay. Number one, we're going to talk here small business. Small businesses have taken a major blow through this pandemic, and many have been forced to shut down for good. Are there any programs and incentives that you'd like to support or propose that might help small businesses if you win this year's election?
Well, when I win this year's election, I know you meant to say that.
Yes.
Let me say that, first of all, you and I and all of our friends and neighbors and family are living through a crisis we've never experienced in America before. And that sounds like a pretty big statement. We had a national depression back in the 30s. We've gone through World War II, World War I, the Civil War. We've never shut down our economy. Never. Through all those crises. This crisis, we in effect shut our economy down.
Right.
We said you cannot operate, you cannot have people coming into your business, you can't operate your business. And so we had millions of people laid off. And small businesses, of course, took one of the biggest hits because by virtue of being small, they had a relatively small volume of business to pay their overhead, pay their salaries, et cetera, et cetera. So we started responding some months ago in March. And we appropriated dollars, initially small dollars. Interesting, we call $8.3 billion small dollars. They're only small, they're obviously gargantuan dollars, but they're small dollars in the face of a $25 trillion economy that had to be propped up.
Right.
And so we passed a number of other pieces of legislation. One was the CARES Act. And literally put $300 billion plus into trying to help small businesses with a program we've called the Payroll Protection Program or Plan. And what that meant was if you had to, say we had 5 people in this office, that's 5 families that were counting on the payroll of this office. And if they're laid off without any support for the small business has to stop paying them. Not only lay them off, but stop paying them. So we put $300 billion plus in that. We then did another $300 billion because it ran out of money almost in 2 or 3 weeks. Because small businesses were they had no revenue to pay salaries. So they needed those, and what we did was, if you keep your employer or employee, it's a grant. And if you don't, it's a loan. Either way, you can try to keep your business going, but what we really want to do is keep people getting paid. Why? So the grocer could keep operating and selling food. So the Birch Oil could continue to get money for the oil so you could heat your home. I mean, it was March, it's April, it's cold. So in the HEROES Act that is pending, that we passed on May 15th, 4 months ago, and the Senate unfortunately hasn't passed a bill. We passed that bill and we put additional money in and we extended the time frame for that program. Unfortunately, that bill hasn't passed and that program has expired, the authorization for it. So I am pressing, and I have suggested, as others have, that we put more money in the program and extend it to at least December 31st.
Okay.
So that small businesses can continue to get loans. And even if they got a loan to begin with, they thought this was maybe going to be 2 or 3 months. And here we are 7 months, 8 months later, and they're still struggling. And they're still not fully open. Now, we've opened a lot in this state and around the country, but they're still struggling. And we need to help them because small businesses are the bulwark of any economy. Yes, the large businesses, they hire tens of thousands of people, but ultimately, the shoemaker, the barber, the grocer, all the real estate broker, the single practitioner doctor or lawyer, they are small businesses, and we need to keep them going so that when we get a vaccine and people feel comfortable about robustly participating in the economy again, that those businesses will still be viable. We're going to lose a lot of business. I didn't mention, small restaurants are taking it in the neck.
They are.
In the neck. Jerry's, over in Prince Frederick. I talk to Jerry Jr. all the time. They're having a terrible time. Now they're open, partially open, limited number of customers they can have.
Right.
So this is a long answer, but it is so important that we keep those small businesses afloat.
Okay.
And give them resources at least to stay alive, so when we get the vaccine and when we're safe, they got an office like this that people can come back to.
Very true. So the program that you would like to put in place now going for December 31st of this year.
Additional sums of money.
Yes.
Put in the PPP program.
Okay.
So that, and also allow, initially as I started to say, I don't think I finished my thought, you can only get one loan.
Okay.
We want it so people can come back because it's gone on for so much longer.
Correct.
In order to keep them alive, they're going to need some more money.
It's very true. One loan typically will not sustain them.
Exactly.
So they're going to need something.
Because it was expected to be a shorter term.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you for that.
You bet, Win.
So I have great compassion for a lot of the small business owners and their employees throughout the district because they were forced to shut down. Their livelihoods were greatly affected by the pandemic, and the tough thing with them as well is that you have big companies like Walmart and Target and Amazon that they were able to stay open, but they were told to shut down. And I spoke to a small business owner that she owned a fashion boutique, and she was told to shut down, facing eviction, and the troubling thing with her was that she would have no more than 5 people within her store at a time. But yet Target was open, and anybody can go and walk through the store. They can try on clothes, go in the fitting room, put it back, and she's like, well, why couldn't I open? It's kind of what we're doing as well. So definitely feel for them, but I do agree that the PPP program that the federal government helped out, the loans, and same with the state, was a great benefit to them. And because of that, we had many small business owners whose businesses, and for them to be able to maintain their employees, they were able to survive throughout the summer and possibly even longer. So that's a great program that was there. Now the good news is luckily the coronavirus numbers in Maryland are declining. You have the COVID-19 infection rate that's been declining since early May. Unemployment rate has been declining as well. It was at 6.6% in August from its peak back in April when it was 9.9%. We have about 205,000 individuals though that are still unemployed due to this pandemic, and we want to do whatever we can to get that number back down to zero. And luckily I think we're on the right track. Everything's getting open. Hopefully the numbers continue to decline and we can move on and get past this pandemic and this virus. But like I said, we're on the right track, and we need to continue to work and find ways to increase consumer confidence, to help spur new job creation, which will shore up existing small businesses while maintaining everybody's safety as well. And with the long goal is to fully reopen. And I think small businesses, they're great. They're great to our local communities, and our local communities thrive when our small businesses thrive as well. And so it's great to make sure that our dollars stay local. So a couple other things that I like as well, now this is going to be done more at the individual level or the local level, is the local, like spurring up local co-ops for growth, or having regional online marketplaces with made in America type goods to compete with the big companies like Amazon and so forth. And I think those are great ways to get back in the direction, to get everyone back to work, to make sure that we're protecting our small businesses because they drive everything.
Right. It's very true. Thank you for that answer.